Draw, draw, draw. Practice your drawing and adventure. This is Club Day in the Secret City, so we have some club members and a special guest with us today. But first, we're going to draw. Now, we've drawn people, and we've drawn places, and we've drawn many objects, but we haven't done any lettering yet. So today, we'll apply our 3D drawing technique to lettering our names. And then we'll be able to apply some good 3D letters to whatever we want to name in the Secret City. Our special guest is O'Neil Hammond, who has one of the largest collections of antique toy vehicles in America. Club members will look at the antique vehicles and modern vehicles and then create some of their own creations. I know you want to join the Secret City Drawing Club, so Zebtron's here to tell you how easy it is to become a member. Now, 5 Secret City Club members are going to join us today. Sarah Vickers and Tim Flynn will be drawing with me. Cindy Kahn, Sharon Kim, and Roland Taylor will be creating 80s toys with O'Neil Hammond. Now, here's what you need to follow along. You need your drawing pad, lots of paper, your drawing pencil, and your guest notebook to make sketches on how to make old and new toys into 80s toys. Now, you gather those materials together, and I'll be right back. So you're fueled up, right? You're in a positive attitude. We're going to conquer that flat piece of paper today, draw 3-dimensional drawings using all 7 magic words, and a super important magic word today, which is size. When you use size, you draw the near object a little bit larger than any other object in the paper, and it makes that object look closer to you. So you're creating that illusion for your eye. Now, drawing with you today, we have 2 club members. We have
Tim Flynn.
Tim.
And Sarah.
All right. You guys energetic, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're fueled up. You loosen up a little bit. Okay, take your pencil. We're going to start right here. We'll use that word size. We'll draw our name in 3D, some really nice, fancy 3-dimensional lettering. Slant this across in direction 1, a guideline. And then we'll draw a vertical line. Now look at this. I'm going to slant this up in direction 1 again, but look at, see how this will taper? It'll get smaller as it goes back into the background because, see, this is larger. Using size, this near part of the row of letters will be larger. And, well, we can write Tim's name in 3D. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Direction 7, a vertical line here. It almost looks like a foreshortened rectangle, doesn't it? Slide this line down in direction 1. Darken this in so you have your nice guidelines. And then draw the end of the rectangle. Direction 7. And then vertical right here. See, sometimes those directions get confusing. There's so many of them. Direction 7 and direction 1. Now, to draw Tim's name, let's start with the T going off. Vertical line right here. Vertical line right here. All right. Direction 1, and then come down. See how this is the top of the T, but it's slanting up. Make sure you don't go horizontally straight across the paper. Then draw these vertical lines, and then come across, draw the bottom of the letter T in that direction right there. Now, the fun part is when we draw the thickness for the letter T. And you can do this with any letter in the alphabet. Remember, you use the guidelines in either direction. Make this slide down, make a nice foreshortened square on top. Follow your guidelines. And then, see, you ignore this area. These are your guidelines. I'm even darkening this in so you can tell that this is what's supposed to stay and this will be erased later. That'll be cleaned up. Direction 7. Then you come in the same thickness. So you take your finger or your pencil and you measure that thickness. And it's the same thickness as it moves across. And you come down, and there's your nice 3-dimensional letter T. We'll shade the letter T on the left side. We'll shade the letter T over here. Now you can do this with the letter S, M, or any of the letters, and even you can create your own letters, and you can build these separate letters into secret cities using your imagination, using variety, and adding extras. See how it's nice and dark underneath the overhang? Really dark. Take your pencil and grit your teeth and really get your pencil there. Okay? There we go. Let's take a moment and get to know a club member a little bit better.
Hi, my name is Timothy Michael Flynn, TMF. Can you say Timothy Michael Flynn? Good. I've lived in Kansas City and Baltimore, and I'm now going to Franklin Senior High School. I like to wrestle and play football, and I like to draw. My art teachers, Miss Trelizzi and Miss Birkenfeld, helped me increase my artistic ability. I enjoy using pencil. Most of all, I like to draw monsters and weird creatures. This is a self-portrait. See my super-duper extra-sensory sunglasses? I like drawing because I can draw anything that suits me and change anything I don't like.
Now remember, when you're using size, you make the objects get smaller as they recede into the background. Size is really important. It's fuel for your pencil power, right? But once you get that pencil power, your confidence is at a high and you're enthusiastic and you can just be commander of this flat piece of paper. A vertical line right here and a vertical line right here. Now look at this, see? It is getting smaller. We're using size. We're also using foreshortening at the top up here. And where's some more magic words we're using? Do you remember? Can you see them? Shading, right? And also surface. The near part of the T is lower in the paper in the far part. Draw the top of the letter I. Now look at this. A lot of people have a tendency to slant this too high. We'll lie it down. We'll draw a guideline right across here. Now our special guest today is creating and having some really interesting conversation with our club members about toys. Let's take a look at them.
Hi. Today we have Cindy, Roland, and Sharon, and we're going to talk about toys. Let's start off with an antique toy that was made at the turn of the century. Obviously, this is a fire engine, and you can see that it's made of iron, and it has two components, the front and the rear, and there are all kinds of interesting things about it, like the spoke wheels, which were originally made of wood and metal and rubber in a combination. It was horse-drawn, and it had steam, and it had lots of hose, and it dashed along the streets and put out fires. And designers of toys built these toys, but they progressed, and they moved into toys like this. Obviously a truck. Do you see anything about the truck that reminds you of the fire engine? Is there any similarity?
Well, there are a few similarities, except that they're both made of metal, and toys today really aren't made of metal.
Okay, they began making toys later on in tin, and this one is tin. It's not very heavyweight tin, but they were able to add color to it, and through lithograph they could put some details on it. You see the little man inside has some characteristics, the steering wheel. And this toy moves like this. It has some movement to it, whereas this one doesn't have a lot except for the wheels.
Well, really simple, both of them.
Well, they are, and toy manufacturers continue to make toys, both simple, although some were complex, and they moved into this toy, which I want you to compare to the earliest toy and see if we can find some differences. If you notice, this one is an action toy. Watch. Ta-da! And when this toy was new in the early 1930s, the firemen climbed all the way to the top of the ladder, and a means of pulley pulled him up. And this is also an adjustable toy. So we really kids could really play with them and work with them. Designers of fire engines and automobiles in the 30s began to do something called streamlining. If you notice, the front has been very streamlined with the rounded lines, the rounded fenders, in order to rush through the air. These toys are fascinating, but the toys of today are far different.
You know, every single toy you saw has to be drawn first. And O'Neill Hammond will explain to you how those interesting toys work and how you can have fun with them. But remember, drawing is really important when you develop those toys. We're using size on Tim's name right here, going across. Direction 1, a vertical line. Direction 7 line, and then we'll add shading behind here. Now, so see that corner right there? I want that to lie down a bit more. I'm going to adjust that. Sometimes that stands up just a little bit too high. Take your pencil line and pull that down all the way across right here. Shade it along here. And then, of course, really darken with the overhang. All the way down. And then we'll put a cast shadow on the ground. So you're following this guideline. Don't forget that nice guideline you have already drawn for yourself. Go all the way across. Or you can come out to the edge right here and look at that. Direction 1. Shade it nice and dark through here. And then for the letter M, it's a little more tricky. Start with a vertical line. And I'll just slightly sketch in the letter M so I can see where I'm drawing. Direction 1, a vertical line. Draw the top. And now watch this. To change directions, you come down, and of course it gets smaller. This side of the M is a little bit smaller than this side. You slant up, direction 1, and then a vertical line again. See, all the letters are getting smaller and smaller as they're going back into the background. I'll draw that in direction 1. Slant this sign. See, they both slant the same. And then another vertical line back here. Make sure this all lines up. I'll darken that in. And look at this. You line your pencil up. Now, this is tough because the top of the letters have a tendency to stand way up. Pull those lines down and make it lie down even more than you would think would be needed. So I'm going to pull even down right there. I'm standing way on the side of my paper. You might have to slant your paper. You can adjust your paper to make these lines on the paper. You don't have to keep your paper straight in front of you. You can just move it around where it's more comfortable. You can draw more confidently. And then we'll match this slant right here with this slant. Vertical line. See, that's slanted. See that? That's slanted, and that line's slanted, but this is vertical back here because this is the back of the letter M. Darken this in all the way down. Darken this in across here. And of course, ooh, we almost forgot a thickness line there. And then a direction 7 line there too, nice and dark. I want to challenge you to see if you can draw your name in 3D, and you can follow this technique, or you can make up your own three-dimensional technique. And later on, we'll see how our club members did on the challenge. Draw, draw, draw. Remember, the magic, super magic word to use is size.
I have been informed that some people have not joined the Commenders Club. Why not? Drawing is fun, and on club days we meet new people and do interesting things. So, join the Synchronicity Club. All you need to do is to make drawing to the commander. This week's activity is to draw your name in 3D. Here is Sarah Vickers' name in 3D. It is super cool, like Sarah. Send your drawing to Secret City Club, Post Office Box 444, Moraga, California, 94556, the United States of America, planet Earth, the universe.
Hi again. Now we're going to look at Rhino from the Mask series. Now this toy is a toy of today, and it does a lot of things. Do you guys have any toys like this?
I don't think I have anything necessary.
Well, it does a lot of things. It's a very exciting toy. It does all this belongs to my son who plays with it constantly, but it moves. It has all these components. There's a lot to do. Things open and shut, and fire, and it has sections and people, and it's made of rubber, but mainly plastic, whereas before you saw it was just metal. Let's look at another one. What's this one called?
I don't think it's the fighter from the Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
Thanks, Sharon. This guy is busy and he makes a noise. He's just a remarkable toy. I guess he floats through space. This is basically plastic, and it's battery operated. And this is a series of toys that in the 1980s we call Transformers. Here's another one. Does this have a name?
Yes, Soundwave.
Soundwave changes from one guy into a camera, right?
No. Tape recorder.
A tape recorder. Ta-da! And this is made up of many components also, and it has some foam parts, but they too are plastic. So they really are a lot different from the toys that we saw earlier. Roland, can you do something with that? Do some transforming for us so we can see it. That's an interesting toy too. These things do lots of flying, lots of playing around, lots of moving. Hi,
I am really intrigued by all of your toys, especially your antique collection.
I'm glad you like them.
But I am curious, there are no batteries or solar collectors to make them move.
No, that one had no batteries, but you could move it manually with your hands, such as this, by doing this, or by turning a screw on the side. The spring action causes the car to move.
I understand spring action. I use it all the time, making contraptions.
Do you see anything else that you like? Oh, look at this one. Now, this one is a toy which really is from almost another world because of its age.
What do they call that?
Well, it's a fire engine. Are you familiar with fire engines?
No, I am not.
Well, they were used to put out fires.
It would be so much fun to create new toys using all of these attributes.
It would be, and we're going to be doing that very shortly. I'd like the club members to do a drawing using the components of these toys. Maybe some old and some new, putting in features of both. These things are going to be terrific drawings which pull out all the best parts of the toy.
Did O'Neill Hammond give you some ideas how to create and draw your own toys? You can, you know the magic words of drawing. You have that control over that flat piece of paper, so you can draw anything you want, even toys. Let's take a look at some self-portraits that were sent in to me. Here's Kelly Warren's self-portrait. Look at, she used color, nice texture on the hair. That's such a cute drawing. Look at the surface and the contour on the face right there with the grin lines. Isn't that cute? You can draw your own self-portraits too. It's a really good exercise. You look into a mirror and you draw yourself. That's neat. Let's look at another self-portrait. This is done by club member Roland Taylor. Look at the texture on the hair and the texture on the face and the eyebrows. Good drawing. You guys really went to town with that challenge to draw your name in 3D. Was it fun?
Yeah.
You guys did more than one, huh?
Yeah.
Just really went crazy with that idea. It's neat because you can take these letterings and, the sky's the limit with your imagination. In fact, look at this. I'll hold it up against your pad of paper here. Now here's Sarah's idea of a three-dimensional, look at this. She wrote Zebtron's name, but she used little characters of Zebtron. She colored it in. This is beautiful. This is a really neat idea. We'll give you the idea to take Zebtron, or different Zebtrons. There's actually about 9 Zebtrons here, and bend it around so it makes his letters. See, there's the Z, E, B, T, R, O, N.
I didn't know if you gave me the idea. I just thought it would be a good one.
You just kind of pour it out of your pencil, huh? See,
Yeah.
once you start practicing your drawing, things like that happen. Your imagination just goes wild. You used stripes, you used color. Beautiful drawing. Did another one right here with Cindy's. Now, you tell me about this drawing.
Well,
It goes
those are her
this
fingers.
way, right?
Yeah. These are her fingers making her name. The C, the I, the N right here, and then the Y.
Where's the D? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. If you misspell, you know what you could do? Is maybe having the, put a D behind there, squeeze it in somehow. But that's cute, though. I like the way you took Cindy's fingers and you shaded it, and you're going to add green color here later on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. You can go back and fix it later on. That's really cute. And you have another one. I'm going to look at one of Tim's right now, but I'm going to use your pad to hold it against. Let me see your colored one. This is beautiful. Now, Tim, you always do such a good job with color. These nice bright colors in here. The T, the I. Do you make sound effects when you draw?
Yeah.
You just really get your pencil and go crazy with it, right? T, I, and M. Beautiful color. And you even use a little bit of foreshortening on top of each of these letters. Good job. Now, we'll give you the idea to draw the T. It's such an interesting slant right there.
Oh, I don't know. It just seemed thing to do. It was really boring just going straight across.
So using variety, did something different with it, right? You took your imagination, you decided to change it just a bit to make it more interesting for you.
Yeah.
Good deal. And you have one other one I want to look at. This one right here, Metaman.
Man, he wasn't here today, but I decided to do one for him. When he comes back, he can see it.
I'm sure you're going to give it to him?
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. Now this time you took the letters, instead of going straight across and making one of the letters extend past the other letters, you took it and you made almost a wave out of it.
Yep.
Or you just went...
Real curved and put some background mountains since Man's the man of the world.
He's an inventor, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then the thickness all around the letter. See, and you didn't really stick the thickness just on top, but you went all the way around and shaded it in.
Yeah.
Now you can add color to this later on?
Yep.
Beautiful drawing. Now you have one more I want to take a look at. This one. And who's this?
That says Commander Mark.
That's me, right? All right, this is really neat. You took the shape of my badge and you wrote my name inside it. Now you can take any shape and put letters inside that shape and make them look 3D by coloring the background or even shading the left or right side, right? Good job. Good work. Let's take a look at what O'Neill Hammond is doing with the toys and with our club members.
We gave you an assignment. Now let's take a look at what you've come up with in your drawings. I see 3 different kinds of drawings that you've done as a result of looking at the new and antique toys. Gee, I don't know which one to start with. Maybe Cindy's. This is exciting. I notice here you've begun to round off the lines and get that streamlined effect.
Yes, I made an old-fashioned car, and I made it so it would go better in the wind than the real kind. But
That's wonderful. It looks as if it's from the era of the 30s or maybe the early 40s. That's exciting. And Roland, you got something that looks like one of those GoBots or Transformers. This is terrific. Tell us about it.
Well, I made a copy of the truck that we just showed up. I made a little man up there.
You've got components just as the ones that we looked at, the shiny parts that were chrome and plastic, and the body of the truck seemed to stand out. It looks so real. Sharon, what do you have?
Well, I have a combination of both the old and the new. I have like a modern-looking truck being drawn by horses, which is an older concept.
That's very exciting. What do you say, Zeptron?
I like these designs, and I thank you very much for sharing all your toy collections, your old ones and your new ones, and I think I will design some toys myself.
It was fun.
The way that shadow lies all the way across underneath that S is just beautiful. This is another good example. Let me show this right here. Take a look at this. See, now who is this right here?
My sister, Stacy.
And then you drew it in 3D using the different directions. You drew a guideline along here and then a line slanting up here and made the thickness going away in this direction.
Yeah.
Good work. Sarah has another one right here. Take a look at this drawing. Real furry letters, right?
No, it's supposed to be stones. They're chopping stones.
You know, when I looked at this, I saw that the lines were almost like the fur of Unibear, and that's why I thought it was furry, but these are rocks, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. Maybe if you drew the stones, round stones inside here, stones piled on top of each other, maybe it'd be easier to see that.
And they're overlapping each other.
Using overlapping, you also have the thickness and foreshortening. Beautiful color. I love that brown used in there in the gray background. What are these little creatures right here?
They're just little men working on it.
That's cute. You know what? This gives me a neat idea, not for stone letters, but for furry letters. What an interesting idea. If you took, say, the letter A, and we worked on this together. Say we draw a letter A right here, and curve the bottom. You don't have to slant away or anything. Just really soft, real smooth. It's a cushion, almost like a cotton ball. We'll go through, and we'll make it a really furry letter, make it look three-dimensional by drawing the fur on the side with flashes like this. You see? Go ahead, follow along with me, and draw this. And then this is maybe another alphabet. You can do a whole alphabet with furry letters and maybe draw your name and your mom's name or your brother's name with this furry shape right here. Go all along the edge like this. That was really neat drawing, Sarah.
Thank you.
Maybe more solid sides. If you want to draw a stone, maybe a more hard or defined corner would make it look stone. See, if you draw lines like this, see how furry it looks? See, it's not quite prickly. I'll curve the lines a little bit so it doesn't look too prickly. Along here. And then, see, I shade the left side. My light source is coming from up here. There's the sun. I'll put some sunglasses on the sun. I always do that. The sun comes down, hits up here. It also hits underneath over here, but it's dark underneath here. So I'm going to use the fur, or the lines right here, to give the idea that it's shaded. And give texture to the whole drawing. Use the side of your pencil if you want to, all along here. Then you put a little cast shadow on the ground, over on the side. And of course, you can blend it in a little bit if you want to. You can do this with every single letter. You can make letters out of straight lines or curved lines or dots. Dotted letters are beautiful. They look like glass all along here.